Hello, my dear friends, once again, and welcome to the second part of agriculture in human geography. Let's just revise what we did last time. We learned about agriculture, wherein we know now that agriculture is a primary activity which produces food grains and other raw materials which are required by various industries. India is a country wherein two-thirds of the population is either directly engaged in agriculture or its ancillary activities. Agricultural products like tea, coffee, spices, etc. are exported by our country. We have three types of agriculture farming that is practiced in our country, that is primitive subsistence farming, about which we studied last time in our last video. And today we're going to learn about intensive subsistence farming and commercial farming. Let's break down this word intensive subsistence farming and understand what it means. Intensive means maximum, subsistence has to do with survival, and farming is the growing of crops. Now let's understand what intensive subsistence farming is through its various characteristics. Intensive subsistence farming is a type of farming that is practiced in areas of high population because more number of people have to be fed uh, uh, based on this type of farming. It is a labor intensive type of a farming. That means a lot of manpower or human power is used here. There is a high amount of biochemical inputs and there's usage of agriculture irrigation for greater output, like insecticides, pesticides, etc. are used on a large scale so that the yield is higher. An example of this type of farming is rice farming in Punjab. Now, the third type of agriculture that we're looking is the commercial farming, which includes extensive farming. As the name suggests, it's a farming done on a very large scale. Some features of this type of farming are, it is a monocrop type of a farming. That means only a single crop is grown at one particular point of time in the particular piece of field. There is usage of tractors, crushers, rovers, and other such type of machinery. There's also the use of pesticide, insecticides, and other biochemical uses which are required to increase the yield of the crop. There is heavy capital investment because the sole objective here is to earn profit. An example would be wheat farming in Madhya Pradesh in India. The second type of commercial farming that we're talking about is the plantation farming. Here again, it is a single type of, a single crop is grown here, but this does not include food grains. This type of farming does not grow food grains. Here again, heavy capital investment is required, lot of money is poured in so that the yield is higher. It needs suitable geographical and climatic conditions. So when we're talking about crops like banana or tea or coffee, a particular type of climate, land, soil, etc. is required. Large manpower is required here. That means it is a labor intensive farming. It does not need much of machinery but manpower or labor. These are the main requirements, and examples would be tea, rubber, banana, coffee, coconut, etc. that is grown in our country. Now let's quickly sum up the different types of agriculture that we have studied in the previous video and this one. We have subsistence agriculture, which means the agriculture or the farming that depends on sustainability or survival, wherein we have the primitive or the shifting type of agriculture, which is practiced in the northeastern parts of India. We learnt about this in our previous video. Then we have the intensive subsistence type of farming, wherein farming is done in order to feed people or feed maximum number of people in a limited limited land or by using limited land. Then we have commercial farming, which includes extensive farming and plantation farming. In commercial farming, the sole objective is to earn profit. And again, commercial farming has a single crop. It includes extensive and plantation. Extensive is where the piece of land or the piece of land where agriculture is carried on is used extensively. There is a use of heavy machinery in extensive farming, while plantation farming does not grow food crops. It grows one particular type of it does not grow food grains, I'm sorry. It grows one particular type of food crop, which includes tea, coffee, etc. Suitable geographical conditions are required for plantation type of commercial farming. Let's recap quickly, where we now know that India is an agrarian economy, that is an agriculture based economy, wherein major part of the population is either directly engaged in agriculture or its ancillary activities. The most of our the requirements of our GDP, that is a gross domestic product, 22%, that's a very high percentage, comes from agriculture. The types of farming are primitive subsistence, intensive subsistence, and commercial. In intensive, there is usage of high labor. Labor is highly used, human power is highly used, and use of biochemical is also done here. In commercial farming, we see that only a single crop is grown. Heavy capital investment is done with an objective of earning maximum profit. Extensive commercial uses heavy machinery, while plantation commercial farming uses more of labor. Now let's think and answer these few questions. Do you think it is necessary to incorporate modern methods of cultivation and crop growth in India? Why do you think so? Think and answer. Well, let me just give you a hint. We are one of the most populous countries in the world. This could be one of the reasons. Differentiate between primitive subsistence and intensive subsistence farming. You will have to give a few examples also, because intensive subsistence farming has to be clearly mentioned or clearly told in which part of the country also. We just cannot mention the name of the crop, because some type of farming which is a primitive farming in one part of the country could be intensive subsistence farming in the other part of the country. So details need to be mentioned here. And the final one is to collect information on vertical farming and write 8 to 10 sentences on it. Now, vertical farming is the latest type of farming that we see today. It is practiced in a very few pockets in our country. It is comparatively a new type of farming which does not include which does not need much of land. It is done vertically. So what is it and how is it practiced? You'll have to collect a little information about that. All right, my dear friends, if there are any comments, any suggestions, any doubts, please do mention that in the comments. Thank you so much. This was presented by Mugdha Pandit from Pandit's Academy.